Hello and welcome to this week's yoga session where we're going to be focusing on arm strength and also a little bit of arm balancing. So I encourage you to get onto your mat, get comfortable, get onto your seat bones. And when you're ready, we're going to take a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Bringing the arms all the way up to the sky and releasing them down beside you. I'll just move so you can see me from the side. We're doing cat and cow, so hands on the knees. Bring your shoulder blades apart, chin to your chest, and tuck your stomach in. Head all the way down. And then release the head all the way back. Bring the shoulder blades together and curving out your back. Then reverse, bringing the chin down to the chest, stomach in. And then reverse, bringing the head all the way back, shoulder blades together, and a curve in your back. Back to neutral. Coming straight onto our hands and knees. Our hands are shoulder width distance apart, our knees are hip width distance apart. Bringing the right arm out in front of you and the left arm out behind, and bringing the elbow in towards the knee. And then release. Breathing in and bringing the elbow towards the knee. And release. One more time, bringing the elbow in towards the knee. Then release. Bringing the right hand onto the mat and the left knee also onto the mat. This time bringing the left arm up and the right leg behind. Bringing the elbow to the knee. Then release. Breathing in and bringing the elbow to the knee. And release. Then one more time, elbow to the knee. And release. And then left hand back on the mat and right leg also. Now tucking in the toes. Bringing the hips all the way up, and we're coming to down dog. Just walking your feet out here. Breathing in and out through the nose. And just widening your stance ever so slightly. Really pushing your ears away from your shoulders. Coming up onto the toes and up and over, bringing your weight onto your hands and into plank. Then hips up and back. Into down dog. Then up onto the toes, shifting your weight up and over onto your hands, back into plank. Then hips up and away, back into down dog. Then one more time, breathing in and coming up onto your toes and moving your weight onto your hands and into plank. And then hips up and away into down dog. Walking your feet out, and then just shortening your stance ever so slightly. Bringing your right hand to your right leg and holding it from either behind the knee, the shin, or the ankle. Really pushing the left hand into the mat. And steadying your breath. Then releasing the right hand onto the mat and bringing the left hand up and behind onto the right leg, either behind the knee, the shin, or even as far down as the ankle. Breathing in and out. And then releasing the left hand. And then coming up onto the toes and bringing yourself back into plank. Bringing your hips all the way down onto the mat. And releasing the toes from underneath and the head up and behind. Into upward facing dog. Then tucking under the toes. Bringing the hips up and away. And back into down dog. Then one more time, we'll shorten the stance and bring the right hand to the left leg, holding it in whichever position is most comfortable for yourself. Breathing in and out. And then releasing the right hand, bringing the left hand to the right leg. And really breathing in and out here, pushing the right hand up and away. Then releasing the left hand, coming up onto the toes, up over into plank. And then lowering your hips all the way down and coming into upward facing dog, releasing the toes underneath. Breathing in and out here, then tucking under the toes, pushing back, coming into down dog, and walking your feet all the way to the top of the mat. Then coming into a little flow, coming all the way up, and exhale all the way back down. Inhale halfway up and exhale, release. Inhale all the way up, little back bend, and exhale all the way down. Walking your feet back to plank, and inhale, slowly lower yourself to chaturanga, up to upward facing dog, and exhale back to downward dog. Walking your feet out and down to the top of the mat, then all the way back up and all the way back down. Inhale halfway up and exhale, release. Inhale all the way up, little back bend, and exhale all the way back down. Walk your feet back to plank and lower yourself down to chaturanga, up to upward facing dog and back down to downward facing dog. Just walking your feet out here and walking yourself to the top of the mat. Deep exhale, then inhale all the way back up and all the way back down. Halfway up and release. Inhale all the way back up and exhale all the way back down. Walk yourself back to plank and lower yourself down to chaturanga, up to upward facing dog and back down to downward facing dog. Then walking your feet to the top of the mat, coming into this deep forward fold. Your ribcage is on top of your knees, bending your knees ever so slightly, releasing the hands and holding on to the elbows, then just turning from side to side. Then releasing, bringing the right hand underneath the right foot and the left hand underneath the left, and the elbows behind the shins, and then slowly straighten your legs ever so slightly, as much as what you feel comfortable. And then when you're ready, you can also bring your head down towards your shins. Then head up, release the fingers, and walk yourself back to down dog. Then from here, slowly lowering your elbows down onto the mat and coming into dolphin pose. And just walking your legs out, finding what's comfortable, and checking how much you need to bend your knees to get into this pose. And with the next inhale, nose diving through your fingers and then coming into chaturanga like this. Chaturanga, up to upward facing dog and back down to downward facing dog. With the next inhale, coming back into dolphin and breathing here. Tucking in the core and really feeling it in the shoulder blades. With the next inhale, looking through your hands and then nose diving yourself into this chaturanga. And then up to upward facing dog and push back to downward dog. One more time, we'll come down into dolphin pose. Looking through your hands and then slowly nose dive through into chaturanga, up to upward facing dog and back to downward facing dog. This time bringing the right leg all the way up to the sky. And we're in three-legged dog. With the next inhale, slowly bringing your right leg through your hands and the knee to the nose. And then release all the way back up. Inhale, bringing the knee to the nose. All the way back up, three-legged dog. Then inhale, one more time, knee to the nose. Then all the way back up, three-legged dog. Release the right leg back onto the mat. And then bring the left leg up into three-legged dog. With the next inhale, bringing the knee to the nose. And then release. Back into three-legged dog. Next inhale, knee to nose. Then release. Back into three-legged dog. And the next inhale, knee to nose. And then release. Back into three-legged dog. And release the leg down into down dog. And then just walk your feet to the middle of the mat. We're going to come down into a deep squat. And from here, we're coming into crow pose. So move the wrists in around clockwise and then anti-clockwise, and just warm up the wrists a little bit more. Even bring them together, move them around a little bit. And then from here, we'll go into crow pose once you feel like your wrists are properly warmed up. So releasing the hands onto the mat. They're around about hip width distance apart. And for the crow, you want to be bringing your knees up towards almost your armpits. But if you're not quite there that you feel comfortable, you can also bring it down to your elbows. So I actually started by learning to lean the knees onto the elbows and using that space here. And then for time, I've realized that actually I can do it all the way up here. So just find what's most comfortable for you. And when you're ready, we'll come into this pose. So bringing your hips up to the sky, exhaling everything out. Then with the next inhale, bringing the knees onto the arms and then shifting your weight up and over onto your hands. And just steady breathing here. And slowly release. Move your hands from side to side. Get a little bit more flexibility going. Making sure that they're warm so that you don't injure yourself. And when you're ready, we can try it one more time. So hands hip width distance apart. Bringing your knees onto your arms or your elbows. And then shifting your weight up and over. And releasing the toes off of the ground. Just concentrating on one point on the mat. And when you're ready, you can release. Now the firefly, it's almost like the opposite of this. So you want to get your hands up and behind, and your elbows are underneath your knees at this point, or on your thighs is actually most comfortable. And you're almost just sitting back onto this. So first of all, get this position where your elbows are really supporting your legs. And once you feel comfortable, bringing your toes up off the ground, and then slowly straightening your legs. And then releasing back onto the ground. And you can play with this position as much as you feel comfortable, but we're going to move on now to go to the rest of the arm balances. So if you get onto your hands and knees, and then from here, pushing up into plank. Just holding this position and steadying your breath. And with the next inhale, coming down to chaturanga and pushing all the way up into plank. With the next inhale, pushing down to chaturanga and pushing all the way up into plank. Then one more, down to chaturanga and pushing all the way back up to plank. Then releasing the knees and down to child pose and exhaling all the excess air out. And with the next inhale, coming all the way back up, and we'll come over onto our right side. So you want your right leg on the ground and your right hand into the mat. And then bring the left arm up towards the air. Just steadying your breath here. Then bringing the left foot onto the mat, releasing the right foot out in front of you, and pushing your hips up and away into triangle, fallen triangle. With the arms, all the way up to the sky and facing up. And then bringing the right leg back underneath the left and just holding back into this side plank. Then with the next inhale, coming back to plank, holding this position. And then turning over to the left side and coming onto side plank on the left side. Breathing in and out and setting your breath here. Releasing the right foot now onto the mat and bringing the left leg out in front and the hips all the way up into fallen triangle. really using your left arm to keep you propped up, and the hips also up towards the sky. Then bringing the left foot underneath the right, back into the side plank, and then releasing the right hand onto the mat and coming back into plank, down to chaturanga, and just pushing yourself back into child pose. And coming back up into all fours, bringing your legs through, we'll come onto our backs. And from here, just bringing your knees backwards and forwards, side to side, giving it a little massage. And when you're ready, you can prop yourself up. We'll come into a shoulder stand. So bring your hands onto your lower back to help you prop up, and then straighten your legs all the way up to the sky and chin to chest. Tucking in the core and breathing through the nose. And slowly lower the knees all the way down, lower the hips onto the mat, and just give yourself a little hug here. And I'll just move myself a little bit further into the middle of the mat, because then in the next time we're going to straighten our legs. So bringing ourselves back up into the shoulder stand position, feet up towards the ceiling, tucking in the core and bringing the right leg down in front of your face and onto the mat. And then releasing all the way back up, left leg all the way down onto the mat, releasing all the way back up, and then both legs, if you feel comfortable, still keeping that support all the way to the ground and all the way back up, or wherever you feel is comfortable for you. And slowly lower your knees down towards you, lower the hips onto the mat, and bring yourself in for a little hug. And when you're ready, you can rock yourself back up. And we're coming into a head balance. So if you've not done this before, then please watch and use a wall, preferably behind you. So the main balance will come from your forehead, and you can choose to have your hands next to you, or if you prefer, you can also have them flat, where you grasp your hands together and you bring your head underneath. This time we'll just have the hands by the side, but you choose what is best for you. Then lowering your head onto the mat. Hands are about shoulder width distance apart and above your shoulders. Then bringing your hips up towards the sky, tucking in your core, pushing your feet into the mat, walking them slightly closer to you. And then once you're steady, you can hold the position and then slowly straighten your legs up towards the sky. And just holding this for a couple of seconds, or what you feel comfortable. Slowly lowering yourself back onto the mat. Coming back into child pose. And here also just massaging your head, your forehead onto the mat. And then when you're ready, you can come all the way back up. And we'll come into down dog. Then into dolphin, and then from here we'll come into arm balance. So it's very similar to a combination between dolphin and the headstand, because you come with your arms on the mat, you really spread your fingers out so that you feel like, so it looks like really spread out. So you use your fingers to also help you with your balance. So coming back into dolphin, looking forward for your hands, tucking in your core, and then just slowly kicking yourself up. And again, please use a wall for this if you need. And then when you're ready, just kicking yourself up and into the pose. Go. And lowering yourself onto the mat when you're ready, and just stretching out your arms and into child pose. Now again, with the headstand and the arm balance, then please play around. You can pause the video and try as many times as you wish. Otherwise, we'll be moving on to the cool down part of the session. So coming onto your hands and knees, or onto seated, and then from here we push up into our hands and knees from backwards, just to stretch out that back. Taking away any tension that could have built up. Bringing the hips all the way up to the sky. And then slowly releasing all the way onto seated. Bringing your hips and your sit bones behind you, arms up towards the sky, and coming down and overhead and reaching towards your feet. And just releasing your head. Breathing in and out through your nose. Then in the next inhale, coming back up onto arms, hands and knees, sorry. Bringing the right arm up towards the sky and then linking it down and underneath the left arm and straightening out the left arm in front of you in the forehead to the mat. Tucking in the core and focusing on your breath. And bringing the left hand next to the head, pushing up, releasing the right hand, then bringing the left arm up overhead, bringing it down underneath the right arm straight out in front and forehead to the mat. And bringing the right hand next to the face and just pushing up and releasing the left arm. And from here we come into wide child pose. So widen your legs greater than hip width distance apart. Bringing the arms out in front of you and really stretching out the arms and the shoulders, shoulder blade. And then when you're ready, you can bring your forehead to the mat also. And slowly coming up onto hands and knees, bringing your legs through, and we'll come down onto our backs, holding in our knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a little hug here, moving from side to side, and just releasing down into Savasana and relaxing into the mat. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and an exhale through the mouth. Just giving yourself this extra minute to be here. Thanking yourself for being on the mat today, for giving it your best, And hopefully you learned some new poses that you can now practice. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Slowly moving your fingers and your toes, bringing your knees towards your chest, and then rolling yourself back up to seated, and then opening your eyes. Thank you very much for joining me on the mat today. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Namaste.